education. Merkaba on the record. Holy shit, Merkaba is mad educated on astrology on a scientific level, and it's kind of blowing my mind, and I can't process it. So I'm like, I can't talk. I'm trying, like, cause he's traveling like light speed. So I'm asking him to try to slow down for like dumb people, or like slow, or blonde, or young, whatever you want to call me. Like dumb it down, or just kindergarten, or just whoa. Okay, like a little sensory overload, like, cause like, yeah, Vedic, and then tropical, and then sidereal, and then exactly all the planets, and then yeah, Jupiter being the second sun, and exactly oh my god, like it all ties together, and there's all this subliminal languagery, and just like you kind of tie it together beautifully, and then yeah, you speak very poetically of the astrological zodiacs, and it's like, it's kind of frustrating and overwhelming because like exactly like there aren't other wavelengths of people speaking this way. So I felt a need for you to like express more freely, but like I know I hate the word but, and I just used it. However, I'll change it to however or and I believe you need to heighten this by connecting with extended energies, you know, not just like your small communal groups as you've reached in masses, then yeah, you plant one seed here and there. I believe like that energy needed to be like almost like Elon Musk's whole brain gate, how they're trying to get everyone to know the same information. It's like that's the kind of information people need to know about, because they're fighting against why astrology doesn't make sense to them is because they didn't actually do their homework on their full astrological chart. Yeah, and I get extremely pissed off about this because people are like, I don't identify with Leo. Like they don't recognize psychology. Like, and then I like to explain scientifically. Like this is my childhood scientific explanation of this. Scientifically, the sun, the moon, and the stars cause a gravitational pull upon us. Our body, there's 75% water on the earth. There's 75% water inside of us. So upon the day that we're born, there's a gravitational pull. And if the sun, the moon, the stars cause a high tide and low tide, there has to be a gravitational pull upon us. Like scientifically, there has to be a pull of emotions. However, psychology and that bullcrap also plays into part, because the fact, like exactly like someone who's a Leo and usually prideful, if they're abused, what are they going to do? They're going to be recluse, they're going to be quiet, they're going to be well reserved, they're going to read books. They're going to take all their passion, all their aggression, and put it somewhere else. And just like, I mean, that, and then especially exactly because the spectrum, like the sun sign only comes from the father. And people are like, well, I'm a Leo, my dad's not a Leo, that doesn't make sense, blah, blah, blah. They don't recognize that they got their Leo qualities from their father, like a leadership or hard charging, like passionate, aggressive, like stop at nothing to accomplish things, take on other people's sufferings. Like all of those levels came from like in that astrological assignment, essentially. It's just like really frustrating. It's kind of sickening. It's like really frustrating. It's like having all this information. It's like exactly like no one knows what your name means, Merkaba, although dodecahedron is also that word too, because like it was in Egyptian times, it was like literally you get locked up and put in jail if you say that. It's like forbidden sacred knowledge.
Really?
You weren't, I don't know if you know that, like certain sacred geometry words were like that. It's like forbidden knowledge. You weren't allowed to say it.
I know God's name is like forbidden in like the Hebrew, like what is it?
Dodecahedron was the same.
Adonai. Is it Adonai? I think it's Adonai.
Like I said, it makes me sick.
So, no, Adonai is in the prayer. Yahweh.
Yeah. I've heard of Yahweh.
Yahweh is the forbidden name. I mean,
really?
Yeah. I mean,
Yahweh's forbidden?
I mean,
But acupuncturist uses that. That's like exclusively what he used when he describes God to me every single time.
Right. I mean, in like Hebrew, you shouldn't say it. Apparently, like out of respect for God or something. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know, but that's like
it's like
old,
Voldemort.
Yeah, I mean that's old world, like Saturn, Capricorn, Jews.
Saturn and all of that stuff is so fascinating, and there's like a lot of Illuminati conspiracy theories that actually do shed a lot of information about the planets and exactly the gods and all the story of Father Time, Saturn, and like why the Illuminati put so much worship into this and why they're said to worship children and where all the Mayans and all this stuff astrologically, what it really boils down to. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, again, it's really frustrating exactly to have like all this mass education and everyone's still like, hey, how about them dolphins or them right. sports games, or like, hey, let's go get fucked up, like when we can all be like, let's go clean the beach, or like exactly like yeah. Also the other thing that's bothering me is like we've been predetermined by Aldous Huxley, who is great friends with George Orwell, who did an interview and admittedly mentioned back then, you can to this day watch the live interview of how they mentioned controlling us through electronics and chemicals, food industry, chemtrails, fluoridation in the water, the electronics now, they can read everyone's energy. They can read the iridology as the eyeballs open. Although it's even deeper than that, because the energetic electrical grid, it can be used as a prison system to kind of control people. And yeah, exactly. Think about it, how we can change your waves by playing different frequencies. It's going to make everybody fearful and angry and depressive and tear everyone apart and trying to ruin the frequency of love by keeping everyone in fear. And then Edward Bernays existing, being Sigmund Freud's brother-in-law, who wrote a book called Propaganda, which taught like one of the first beginnings of psychology, right? That taught everyone how to control the people. What's the best way to control a person? Fear, sex, and power suggestion. And like, if you think about it, it's all done that way. Like, look at commercials like, you have to buy this or your baby will die. You want to be happy, you have to buy this. And then there's like, oh, here's this hot person that you really love and worship and you just want so bad, and it's dominating your sexual and your whole hormonal system. You have to have this so you'll have all that. So,
I don't even know why you like it.
Exactly. So people dive into that stuff, and then last but not least, will you please buy this? I could really need your advice, please. You're going to help all these children. It all works. So like that, like those are all the tactics that are being used against us all the time. And exactly, we were being told what mattered, like sports or like money or cars or like honestly, like I wish I had my notes, or like I don't even know where I would find it. Although when I recently had a history class and it was awful, yet it was awesome at the same time. He mentioned something, I wish I could remember the exact words. It was something like where the Native Americans were calling gold like yellow rock that makes white man go crazy or something like that. I'm serious, I'm being dead ass. It was something just like that. My teacher knows the exact phrase or whatever, but it's a really historical significant thing. Like the Indians just didn't understand why man just went so nuts over like something that just didn't matter, because they were so busy like just communing and loving one another and just like exactly. And then like the mentality was changed, or like the value system, and it was all for nothing and fake, like illusionary, and infected virus of thinking and mentality, or just like soul principles, or it's just awful. It's just driving me nuts.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know. It's funny because it's like you get like caught up all in it, and then it's just the trap. And it's like,
but nobody, it is a trap. It's like literally, it's a trap. It's like the Matrix, and I can't get out.
You just want to get out, though. You can't get out.
It's like I'm plugged in so many different places. I had read things that we had given our souls away in contracts of blood in ancient times, and that's why we were kind of stuck in this construct. It was quite fascinating.